सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः The path of prayer and the path of Shreya, they are contradicting in nature. They are poles apart. There is not even a look-alike similarity between those paths. Therefore, it would be unwise for a true, interested, sincere seeker to not make the mistake of trying to put feet on both sides and say, I will try to draw the best of the both worlds. Because one is taking completely, excessively outwardly, and the other is taking completely inwardly. One is rooted in avidya, the other is rooted in vidya. How can these two have any similarity? Now, what happens when somebody who is rooted in avidya tries to take the path? There are several scenarios. As much as possible, because Yamadharmaraja, sitting at his threshold between life and death, he certainly sees what happens this side of the world. And he is the one that has to finally come to judge what path does that individual take. So from that understanding, clarity and authority, he is making these beautiful observations. So in the next mantra, fifth mantra, page 75. अविद्यायामन्तरे वर्तमानाः स्वयं धीराः पंडितं मन्यमानाः दन्त्रम्यमूढाः दन्त्रम्यमाणाः पर्यन्ति मूढाः अन्धे नैव नीयमाना यथान्धाः. A similar mantra is there in other Upanishad. So the wording gets confused. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha. The best part is Yamadharmaraja doesn't have the necessity to be politically right to state his statements and his observations. He is being brutally straightforward and honest. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha. Those who are established in avidya and taking to the path of priya, but yet sound like walking and talking spirituality. Swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. They consider themselves as leaders. They consider themselves as a lot of experience and try to suggest the path to the seekers. Panditam manyamanaha, swayam dhiraha. But where are they established? They are established in avidya. Dandramyamanaha pariyanti mudhaha andhenaiva niyamana yatha andhaha. They are like the blind leading the blind. Andhenaiva niyamana yatha andhaha. Dandramyamanaha pariyanti mudhaha. They themselves are completely confused, dandramyamanaha, or deluded, and they lead others into delusion. या तो स्वयं मूर्ख है, या तो मूर्ख बनाने की कला जानते हैं, या फिर दोनों हैं. This is stated by Yamadharmaraja from that time, ages before. It still is applicable. Out there in the market, people have a fancy for something new in the name of spirituality. A new technique, a new way. There's nothing wrong in having that which is explained in terms of the people and their understanding. That should be the way that the Guru and the Shastra should be leveled. That subtle aspect of spiritual glory has to be brought down into a tangible format which the Sishya or the seeker has to understand. So it has to be given in the language, in the terms that the Sishya is coming from, so that the Sishya can appreciate it, understand it, assimilate it, and grow. There's nothing wrong in that. But then, that which is being stated, that which is being given, how do we understand it? So, one point, there are several pointers. One point is, just because somebody has studied the translations and has a good memory and vocabulary, doesn't make it as a leader or a teacher. There has to be an immense amount of experience of what is being spoken. If that is not digested by the individual who is trying to lead, that undigested, it will only come out as confusion. See, the comprehensiveness of the entire Vedanta Vichara is all the different principles that are being explained, they are very much interconnected, interrelated, supportive of each other in statement of principle. We cannot take one aspect of it and say this much I will and the rest of it is junk. Because they are not having that experience, therefore they would say that it is useless. There can be several examples given. Though Yamadharmaraja is not caring about being politically correct. Sometimes speaking, I have to be careful about being politically correct. The Vichara is very clear where the Shastra itself suggests how should that speaker be. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtancha. This is the baseline. Shrotriyam, that who has studied the scriptures in a very systematic order. There should be a certain parampara that you should be able to identify. Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, Nimbarka, Gaudiya, various paramparas. There is a synchronization of all aspects of the dharmic, shastric approach. It cannot be something which is divided and parceled because it will appear glorious. Even the recent past, where we look at Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, when he speaks, when as simple as a text in Upadesha Sara, he has the comprehensiveness of taking all aspects of spiritual unfoldment and justifiably give them the right position and direction, and doesn't say that, hey, this is only meant for only so much. I'll give you the example so that it is clear. He talks about the importance of japa. Uttamastavad, Uchchamandataha, Chittajam japa, Jnanamuttamam. Japa is a requirement. Initially, when you start with the loud, chanting. And when you are chanting, it has to be loud and it has to be spashta. Purusha ye vedagam sarvam yadbhutam yaccha bhavyam. It cannot be. That is not how it has to be done. It has to be chanted, it has to be chanted loud. Initially, that practice is required. Then comes when you have memorized it enough, it is, flawless. Then you chant as much as you whisper and you can hear it. Started with Purusha Sukta. It can be your own Ishtadeva mantra also. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And then comes the state wherein it is chanted within. That there is that consistency wherein you close your eyes and sit down. You don't have to put an excessive effort to withdraw the mind. The mind automatically settles in and you can chant unhindered by any other opposing, distracting thought. But better than all of this is seated in Jnana. Very clearly, systematically laid out. He says there is a requirement of prana. Therefore, do the prana vikshana, which is also known as sahaja pranayama. All encompassing beautiful synchronization of this. Even in our own mission, there are people who say, oh, ours is path of jnana. Where are we getting distracted with all this ritualism of temples and puja and bhajans and things like that? What kind of nonsense is that? What kind of wrong? If you are riding a high horse, I can understand. But that which we think that it is a high horse, it is actually a donkey. Get off that high donkey. And those who know and cherish the comprehensiveness of this path, even if they have reached to a certain depths, they would not ridicule the path that has helped them reach there. Am I? But we see that not understanding it just because you have read a few statements of Upanishad. See, even in Upanishad, there is a sequence of logic as to where what is said. You cannot misquote the entire statement. That way, if you look at it, even Bhagavad Gita will be confusing. On one direction, he says, Swadharme nidhanam shreyaha, paradharmo bhayavaha. Stick to your Swadharma. And then at the end, in the 18th chapter, he says, Sarva dharman parityatya mam ekam sharanam vraja, ahantva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami masucha. Now, Swamiji, it is very confusing. Should I follow my Swadharma or give up my Swadharma? There's a context to it. Just like somebody who has sat down for having his meals, when a banana leaf or the leaf is given, you wash it, clean it, sit down, eat, and after eating, कायदे से उसको उठा के फेंक देते हैं. But just because you are done with your meals and the banana leaf is no more, you come and confuse people saying banana leaf को वैसे भी फेंकना पड़ता है. Why even go into it? बेवकूफी की हद होती है. So, not having the comprehensiveness of the Shrotriyatva, because we come with an assumption. See, initially 1 year ago when I wanted to start, people wanted me to conduct Ashtavakra Gita, Mandukya Upanishad and Mandukya Karika, Upadesha Sahasri. Why? New text, something deeper text. ABCD की औकात नहीं है. शेक्सपियर पढ़ने चले. The comprehensiveness is when all these are synchronized and it is left to the student. Where do you think your mind and your texture of your mind and conditioning is? If you have that inner stability, you can start off, but it doesn't mean that you leave the other path. Try practicing it, and if easily you can reach to the next stage, then you don't require it. But not having stability to even focus with one thought, one theme, you want Mandukya Upanishad and Karika. Oh, I had so many suggestions what should be engaging. So I also started with different texts, evaluating, and said, okay, fine. We had to go back to basics. Cannot avoid it. So Shrotriyatva, meaning that scriptural study according to that Sampradaya, is a must. And then Brahmanishtatva. Brahmanishtatva, Adi Shankaracharya ji very beautifully describes. He says, Tat Shravanam, Tat Kathanam, Anyonyam, Tat Prabodhanam. Constantly engaged in thinking of that Brahma Chintana in and through every aspect of life. That is the standpoint from where the idea, decision, concept is always embedded in. Hopefully, I am getting across. Not having this basis, just because you have a very fluent vocabulary, control on language, whatever Anab Shanab said in the name of spirituality cannot be accepted. Wherein in our Shastra, the very basis of theistic and atheistic. What is the translation of theistic and atheistic in Sanskritam or Indian languages? Astika and Nastika. Right? The definition of theism and atheism Because the word seems similar, we equate it with Astika and Nastika. Theism and atheism, according to the word is English, so it is coming from the basis of the Abrahamic reference or relevance. Their understanding of theism and atheism is those who believe in God and those who don't believe in God. That is not the very definition of Astika and Nastika. Those who completely implicitly follow the Vedas, they are called Astika. Those who reject that are called Nastika. They might still be considered as within the umbrella of the Hindu tradition and culture, and yet Astika and Nastika. Charvaka very clearly says that I do not follow the Vedic tradition. They are called Nastika. Then there are the Mimamsakaras who take a certain portion of Vedas and reject the rest of it. In the New Age, there is a certain portion of the Yajna, Homa, Havana, they take that and reject the entire Murti Puja. दयानंद सरस्वती जी का क्या है? Arya Samaj. Then there are those that who they claim publicly that I feel Sanskrit is an ancient language. Remember, Sanskrit is an ancient language. It has lost its purpose and direction. Therefore, I have read no scriptures. That is Nastika. In the name of spirituality. And then that Brahmanishtatva, having established yourself where the mind does not get deviated, is focused only on that. Now, what to talk of those that make religion a business? It's a very good platform. And Adi Shankaracharya ji has censured it and mentioned it way back then, even in Bhajagovindam. Kashayambara Bahukruta Veshaha Udara Nimittam Bahukruta Veshaha. Different kinds of colors of clothes. Orange hua, yellow hua, white hua, green hua, black hua. Different colors. Different designs on the forehead. Therefore, Gurudev used to say very clearly, the longer the beard, greater the suspicion. And he was sporting a long beard himself. Come with a pinch of salt. Not having the proper standpoint, thinking through. See, one should be very, very careful. When we are trying to instill a concept, a principle, how much do I have a thoroughness in understanding and practice? Because it is messing up with that many that might be ending up listening, and it is their future and their spiritual growth that will be affected. So Shastra Hani should not be done for my own convenience. Meaning the Shastra is indicating it in one direction, I misuse it, it is like the devil quoting the scripture for its own convenience. Self-deludaha paranapi deludayanti. But this doesn't end with this mantra. Because he continues to give. He says in the next mantra, न सांपरायः प्रतिभाति बालम् प्रमाद्यन्तं वित्तमोहेन मूढम् अयं लोकः नास्ति पर इति मानी पुनर्पुनर् वशमापद्यते मे न सांपरायः प्रतिभाति बालम प्रमाद्यन्तं वित्तमोहेन मूढम्. Those who are promising the spiritual path and grow towards the higher, but they are completely ensnared in wealth, power, eshanatraya, vitteshana, putreshana, and location. Vitteshana, these are all sense of security that one gains. Vitteshana, to find security in wealth. Putreshana, to find security in progeny. And the last one, location, to find security in power, fame, limelight. They turn spirituality into a circus. Long time ago, I had lots of yatras, lots of tirtha yatras. So I had gone to a certain tirtha kshetra. And what disturbed me was, there is name, Shri 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 1008. Do you know what that means? They want to write the grandeur of that Mahatma as Shri Shri. If you write it 1008 times, therefore they have abbreviated it Shri 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 1008. Amuk Amuk Ananda Swami. Whatever is the name, XYZ. And they have established ashramas and mathas. But then, it is not just a security for the ashrama, they had, guns and AK-47s. I was allowed inside because I was already a brahmachari, they was allowed. Then when I went inside and saw that, it was like that Mahatma is supposed to be a sadhu, but has so much of wealth. To protect that wealth, all this story told by the people within the ashram, amassed so much of wealth, so much of power, that didn't know how to control it, didn't want it to be dissipated. Therefore, married the cook, has children. They are also in sadhu vesha. They were teenagers at that time. They were in sadhu vesha. And they had these semi-automatic, the AK-47s and shotguns. Why? Because they have so much of wealth that they are sitting on. ये कहाँ की spirituality है भाई? I don't know if you all are aware of the story. Whatever be the reasons, that when within the Chinmaya mission in the early days, when there was too much of pressure saying that Chinmaya mission's direction should be, it should be advertised and it should be the premier, whatever be the reasons. So Gurudev said that is not why Chinmaya mission is established. They didn't listen. So the next day they went for confirmation. He was not to be found. He had come with one dhoti, one angavastra, a kamandalu, a japamala in his hand and a mala on his chest. Wearing his wooden khadam. He had already started walking towards Himalayas. If this is the direction that you want to take, I care a hoot for this. And he started walking. Early morning, he started walking. These fellows, they said, okay, we now understand. It will be done with the focus being only on this. That should be the clarity. That the purpose of whatever has been instituted is not for minting money, is not for that as the purpose. There was, it seems, one particular, I will not name that person. That business house is still very prevalent, and so they had come and told Gurudev that we will have that. You seem to be running very good schools. There's a lot of grassroots samskaras that are being given. We will sponsor a school in each district across Bharatvarsha. So the people that had come to speak on behalf of these this business magnate, they had given a stipulation that this will be run as the Chinmaya institution until Swamiji is alive. After that, we will start owning it. Gurudev did not say yes. Gurudev did not say no. He just picked up his glasses, walked away from that room, and these people were left hanging in there. So they must have gone back and informed it to the head of the business. He came back running and said, they may have misrepresented me. He said, no. This thought must have occurred for them to present it. And if it is that kind of I am not here for selling my name to make it a business. Last example from Gurudev's life. TTD had organized Gurudev's Yajna in a very grand scale. But their stipulation was that you will not ask for Guru Dakshina. We will pay you whatever it is. You name the price, we will pay you at the end of it. They would not listen, they would not budge. Gurudev said, this is a Rishi Parampara. We live on alms. This Vidya is not for sale. You cannot buy it. You cannot put a price tag on it. Whatever people feel genuinely touched and they can afford to give, that will be my Guru Dakshina. It cannot be sold. And he cancelled it. And if I am not wrong, it was chicks from Hyderabad that were asked to come to Tirupati to organize. The same date, the same venue, but with less glamour. Saying this is not for sale. This is not something that can be, PR generated and, public what do you call PR? Public relations manipulated and advertised in. That is not the purpose. This is not for sale. Vitteshana is not the criteria. When the Chinmaya Vahini came, yes, the Vedanta course, Brahmachari training course that I had attended was the very year when Gurudev attained Samadhi. So when we were Brahmacharis in the ashram, 93, Gurudev attained Samadhi in August 3rd, ours started in September. So the entire kutia was being remodeled and painted for the first anniversary. So there were so many things that we organized, catalogued. These are all relics to cherish. One such which caught my attention was as we were going through all his books and personal belongings, was diaries, set of diaries, yearly diaries, purely maintaining to a naya paisa as to how much has come in Guru Dakshina, how much has been spent on a daily basis. And as a reminder, on the very first page of that particular year's book, this was in early 50s or mid 50s book that was displayed here in Chinmaya Vahini. There is an accounts book, small one. So there on the first page, it says, every penny is Narayana's. Therefore, we should be honestly accountable for everything that we use. And I said it was not for sale, it is not for money. But whatever came, that was also sincerely looked upon. That nothing would go for waste, nothing would be spent unnecessarily unaccounted. It will be taken care as it is Narayana's. In my interpretation, Lakshmi is Narayana's. Therefore, deal with Lakshmi Devi with Shraddha, with Bhakti. Vitteshana. Putreshana. Oh, so many times when going through the Sadhu Samaja, as soon as I introduce my name, few questions that come is, तुम्हारे कितने भक्त हैं? How many devotees do you have? I visit at least about 11 different countries, and each country I have at least about 20, 30, 50, 60,000 sishyas. मेरे इतने शिष्य हैं. Because Putreshana, there are two kinds of santati, two kinds of progeny. One is called Bindu Santati, the other is called Nada Santati. Bindu Santati, that which is born of the father and mother, the sperm. Nada Santati, that which is born out of the Shruti Vakya and those who become the Sishya. Tell you, Gurudev protected many of us by saying, there is only one Guru. And he himself did not leave him into that list. He said, that is Tapon Maharaj. In his own lifetime, he said, that is Tapon Maharaj. Even if there was Pada Puja offered to him, he would be constantly chanting and repeating the name of Tapon Maharaj because it is being offered to him. If somebody said that these Sishyas are leaving, they said, Purushartha is free for application for anybody. If they feel that Chinmaya is not required by them anymore, they have all freedom to go wherever they feel, wherever Ishvara takes them to. I was there when Swamiji was being suggested that many people come to the mission for the brahmachari training and then they go out to join different organizations or start their own organizations. There should be some stipulation that after taking the training, they have to at least give 5 to 10 years to the organization, then they can choose to go. And Gurudev laughed it out. He said, Vidya is not my property. In fact, the training is not for the Chinmaya mission to thrive for its own self as an organization, but if multiple organizations can thrive and bring the same knowledge to the masses, so be it. Magnanimity was of a different cadre, different level altogether. Some of our own ashrams, when they leave, those who left claimed it as theirs. And Gurudev was like, ठीक है, अपना ही बच्चा है, लेने दो, वो भी यही तो काम कर रहा है, करने दो. That magnanimity. Wherein the other organizations also should be supported with this Shrotriyatva, which has the proper accordance with the scriptures. Let them learn, let them go thrive. What a magnanimity. See, when I was in Dallas, there were so many other organizations. So one such very prominent organization came up and said, you come and teach all the Balabihar training to our organization. We are planning to open up for the children. I said, it would not be right of me to come there and teach. You send how many ever. I will find accommodation for them and teach them for 15 days. Train them. The inspiration being Gurudev's way of outlook. This has to be given to as many, and if they can deliver this to much larger, so be it. Train them well. Looking at that, the other local temples also wanted to start Balavihar. Now, in this today modern day and age, the names are copyrighted, trademarked. They said you cannot call it Balavihar. You can call it whatever, wing of yours. But do send your teachers. He never looked at the Chinmaya Mission competing with other organizations. He said, what competition? Come, learn, and go thrive. Not just survive, thrive. Did not limit himself to the Shishya Varga and what kind of prowess through the Shishya Varga. Not enticed by Vitteshana, Lokeshana, Putreshana. But then those who are in this field for that limelight, for that power, for that political clout. So that you can twist and turn things. That is not spirituality for. Otherwise, it will seem so hypocritical that you talk of Vairagya in absence of Vairagya. You talk of encompassing love, and in that encompassing love, there is no competition and cheap jealousy. Na samparayaha pratibhati balam. If somebody takes it to that way, that spirituality is manipulated for these kinds of eshanas, they are childish in their approach. Pratibhati balam. Pramadyantam vittamohena mudam. They are committing serious wrong in their life because they are deluded. And then they feel, Ayam lokaha nasti para iti mani. To earn that name, fame, and clout in this world, nothing more than that. If you have power, you have everything. If you have power, that powerful makes a statement, that becomes the norm. I'll tell you my very scary experience. Once I was traveling from Vijayawada to Bombay, about 25, 30 years ago, when I was in charge of Vijayawada. So I went into the train. Right opposite to me, there was another person who sat, and he was very flashy in nature. And he ended up, I usually keep to myself. If somebody pokes me, I then respond to that. So, who are you? What are you? Why are you wearing this? All that normal questions were asked. Then I kept quiet. I didn't even ask, what do you do? Then he himself said, I am by profession a smuggler. Okay. Though I hail from somewhere near Vijayawada, my base is in Chennai, and I am opening another outfit in Bombay. So I am going to see. And I said, my parents, though, are very sincere, pious people, they were teachers. I thought, enough of this poverty. I said, but taking to this path, what is there once you have wealth? You have the power to twist the standards around you. You earn and then you donate for the right causes, then people start looking up to you as a dharmatma. And what you define becomes dharma. The only thing that I ended up mustering enough courage to say to that person, you seem to be a man of clarity and conviction. Only if you had taken to the dharmic way, you would have shined not just in this world, but in the other world also. So to that, he reacted and said, what? You mean to say you have seen the other world? It's a bunch of nonsense. All that which is here and now. I said, ये तो कठोपनिषद का एग्जाम्पल बनेगा. Ayam lokaha nasti para iti mani. This is the world. My name and fame here is what matters. The run for name and fame is such an illusion. And one example that comes to my mind is, answer my questions, you will know where I am going with. Do you remember your parents' names? Both parents. I know it is a silly question, but bear with me. Do you know your grandparents' names? 4 of them. 2 on this side, 2 on that side. Right? Do you know their parents' names? In Telugu, we would have called Muttata, Muttama. Paradada, Paradadi. How many would they be? 8. 2 factorial. So 8. In our own family, that because of who we are, what we are, we don't end up remembering the 3rd generation before us. What to talk of the name and fame in the outside world? Whatever we have earned, whatever we have established, do you think they are going to remember? My own personal experience. When I was in Vijayawada, I suddenly shifted to Dallas. People in Vijayawada were like, Swamiji, we are going to miss. In those days, there was no, you know, proper communication. Just then about the emails had started. So I would get at least one per day from say 60, 70 people. 1 year, it dropped to 10. 1 year, it dropped to 10. After that 1 year, even that 10 ceased to exist. What are we hankering for? Working from Vidya and abundance, working without that abundance, there is a huge difference. Working with abundance is giving. There is no insecurity in that giving. Give, let them benefit, let them cherish, let them grow. Without abundance, now you want to clout them. And for that, they will do all kinds of circus to maintain that clout, to maintain that, that is not spirituality. Far away from it. That is what happens when we mix Vidya and Avidya and try to take the best of both of the worlds. You will be left nowhere. Therefore, Yamadharma Raja is making the last statement in this mantra. He says, Punaha Punaha Apadyate me. Such people again and again get caught by me. Get caught by me meaning Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam. See, when Adi Shankaracharya ji says, when Upanishad says, it's a different language. But here Swayam Mrityu is speaking. So he says, they get caught by me. They do not go beyond the sense of happening, the sense of worldliness. They're completely rotting in that hypocritical world that they have created around themselves. Continuing. श्रवणायापि बहुभिर्यो न लभ्यः शृण्वन्तोऽपि बहवोऽयं न विद्युः आश्चर्यो वक्ता कुशलोऽस्य लब्धाः आश्चर्यो ज्ञाता कुशलानुशिष्टः श्रवणायापि बहुभिर्यो न लभ्यः शृण्वन्तोऽपि बहवो यं न विद्युः. Just by speaking and speaking and speaking about this, that's why if you observe, I told one statement before we started this. I am in no rush to finish complete text after text after text. Whatever text is to be taken has to be taken with the thoroughness of its understanding, its implication and practice. Otherwise, there seems to be a competition ये कितने उपनिषद किए? How many Upanishads have you completed? What difference does it make? Upanishad Vidya is the same pointer. There is nothing different being pointed. It's the same Vidya. But the angle with which it is being given, delivered, don't know which angle will help us perceive it better, grasp it better. This is not for the effort to try run through scriptures. Another feather in the cap of our ego. I have finished so many Upanishads, I have finished so many Prakarana Granthas, I have finished Bhagavad Gita 7 times. There was one person in Vijayawada when I was there as a brahmachari. There is a syllabus given by Gurudev as to how to conduct study group. This person, whether it is 2 people or 3 people or 4 people that come to the study group, sincerely he would conduct study group. He had gone through the entire circle of that prescribed syllabus so many times that he had memorized which edition of the book, what page number, what main line of that shloka is. He had memorized everything. And his own children would ridicule him, saying, nobody comes, why are you doing that? His standpoint was very clear. Gurudev said, if others benefit, it is an added bonus. This is for my own swadhyaya. I hear he has shifted somewhere here to. But such sincere. Not with the rush of trying to finish the syllabus, but to understand, grasp, and make it swadhyaya. Otherwise, we are in a rush to. Now, there is another, what you call, eczema that. Now, all these are very usual common texts. Let me now hear something unusually different, कुछ अलग से. जो पढ़ रखे हो का खाक खड़ा है, कुछ तो नहीं किया उसका. It is the instability of our own mind in that display. This should take us to that silence within from where that itch is gone. This is not for an academic glory. Once you have done PhD, then you, in order to maintain yourself as a tenured professor, you have to keep producing papers. This is not that kind of an effort. कहाँ पागलपन में फंसे हो? Just because you speak about it, it doesn't ensure that you have already attained it. Shrunvatopi, just because you have been hearing and you have become a professional listener, it also doesn't ensure. Have I squeezed what I have studied through my manana into doables of understanding? Take it to the field of experience, apply these and check, evaluate oneself thoroughly that whatever I have heard, whatever I have understood, am I practicing it? And if in my practice there are lapses, how do I correct it? Otherwise, we will be lost in another kind of a rat race. Then to the present situation, Yamadharmaraja says, Ascharyo Vakta Kushalosya Labdha. And Ascharyo Jnata Kushalanusishtaha. As you said, Nachiketa, that it is very difficult to get a good teacher. From my standpoint as a teacher, I want to point out that I have been on this threshold. Seldom have I come across a student like you. See, we keep asking, right? How do we find the correct guru? Have we ever focused on how do I become the correct Sishya? No flower out there in the garden ever goes out to the market and advertises for itself. Oh, you hummingbirds, bees, and bumblebees out there in the world, tomorrow I am going to open a blossom with the best of the nectarine. Please come. Use this QR code for the entrance. It just unfolds, it gets ready. The bumblebee arrives, the hummingbirds arrive, and bask in the nectarine quality of that what the flower has to offer. Similarly, to draw that nectarine quality in that Sishya, the Sishya's focus should be that how can I become a better student? If at all we sit at the feet of Bhagavan, we should. If at all we ask anything of Bhagavan, not for sense of security, wealth, health, these silly things, prarabdha, it is come, it will come, you face it. Don't disturb Bhagavan for these silly little things. Bhagavan, I have loans. Karma Guru. Do your effort and grow. You don't need to disturb Bhagavan for that. If at all we need to ask, if at all. Sincerely sit and pray to your Ishtadevata. Bhagavan, come in that format of a guru that can take me, lead me, hold me, and take me to the highest and nothing less than that. Your sincere prayer and tears of thanks waiting for that guru. That Ishvara will appear in that form of guru in front of you. You don't have to go hunt for a guru. You just focus. Our understanding and focus should be purely on how do I become a better Sishya. Guru will come. With this, I'll stop. I know I have taken a couple of minutes extra. We'll stop here. We'll continue tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om